everybody, and welcome back to the Tea with Crema. My name is Chris. I'll be one of your hosts today, and I'm joined by my best friend, Emma.
Good day, everyone.
Today's episode is a part of our end of year reflection series, is what I'm going to call it unofficially now. And we are going into our third vision board season. So as we just celebrated our third anniversary of the Tea with Crema, that does mean that our vision boards are back again, which we are super excited for this year.
I feel like our last couple of episodes have been reflection episodes. We've just been reflecting. I think we need another word. We need a synonym for reflection, because then it should be the reflection with crema, not the tea with crema.
At this point, oh my goodness. It's just, again, I think it's that, like, you go from Thanksgiving where you're thinking about all the things that you're so thankful for, and then you're like spreading the joy for Christmas and just being so nice and thoughtful to everyone. And then you're setting all of these goals for the new year. It's just like, even before the Tea with Crema, this was just the time of year that I was doing stuff like that. Reaching out to old friends. Tis the season.
To be jolly.
So you're right. We will try to find a synonym. But before we get started and really dive into this episode, what tea did you bring today?
I am drinking another cold tea. I can't read Japanese again, but it does have some English words which says fruits tea, and there is a giant pear on the front. So I'm assuming I'm drinking a pear tea. I just drank a little bit of it, and what would you know? It tastes like a pear. Good marketing, Japan. Thank you for that.
So, like, do you think it's pear tea or pear juice?
Another thing that I would also have to pull out my Google Translate for, it does taste like, there's a lot of things like the lemon tea that I drank last time tastes like lemonade and tea together, almost like an Arnold Palmer. And this one tastes more like a juice. Like, it tastes like pear. Hold on, let me try it again. Maybe there's some white tea in there. Yeah, it tastes tea.
Okay, so it's not just like pear juice.
Yeah, I can taste the tea, but I can also taste the pear flavor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How intriguing. Well, I'm glad you got to enjoy your fruit drink.
What are you drinking today?
Today, I have another tea from Beach House Teas in Long Island, Washington. If you remember the last time I had a tea from this group, it was not my favorite, but this one is called Peninsula Harvest, and it's a loose leaf tea from organic cranberries and raspberry and papaya leaves with clove and ginger. And I don't know, something about raspberry leaves I've learned is not as enticing as one would think. But I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out. It's an odd description for sure.
Coming to you live, a tasting. Uh-oh.
Oh, this poor company. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I'm trying it without sweetener, so it's just like, where's the anything? Like, where's the cranberry? If you're going to put a cranberry fruit in the thing, where's the cranberry?
Where's the papaya? Where's the rolled oats? Where's the Long Beach, Washington Peninsula cranberries?
They like really sold? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. It is another 2-star.
Oh. Is this the same one that they like, the no BS one? No, right? It's not that company, is it?
I think it's that company. No. It was the Coastal Carrot Cake was the last tea I had from them.
Oh, yeah, and you didn't like that one. It was very cinnamony.
Well, it's okay. Maybe next time. They still have a lot of varieties, but it's fine. In any case, as we continue to just, keep reviewing all of these things, we're going to go ahead and write a fun little Yelp review for the year 2022. But I will say, disclaimer, we did make a vision board episode for 2022. And let me tell you who did not actually make a vision board. It was me. I put it on my to-do list and then just never did it.
Oh, I also did not make it either. So it was not like, there was a lot going on last January on top of my seasonal depression.
So I don't know.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, and I think that's one of those things too, right? Like I always say, like, you hold me accountable. So like you didn't do it, and then I was like, and then it was April, and I was like, oh shoot, I still haven't done mine yet. So this time we're gonna be a lot better. I already have my magazines ready. I have the things to put on there. I have my list of what I'm putting. I have my plan already. So it's gonna happen this year. We're doing it.
It is going to be released. So there will be no fake outs this time. True vision boards happening. So we're working on it, but it is important again before we move forward to look back. So we'll keep it efficient, but you will get a final review on the year 2022. Trust and believe. So first things first, what is something that you are grateful for that happened this year?
I got married.
Yay! How exciting!
I felt like Oprah when she tells people that she just won all those prizes. So I'm very grateful for my newly minted husband, and that we had our pseudo wedding. It's not the real wedding yet, but everything went off without a hitch, and that he's now currently living with me in Japan. So I'm very grateful that we are beginning to start our lives together. So that's something I'm definitely for. I'm grateful that we're both still healthy, and you and I, that's what I meant. Also, Isaac and I are very healthy still. So I'm grateful that we haven't had any major health things. I'm grateful, for my family and my parents still being healthy as well. What about you? What are you grateful for in 2022?
I am grateful for making it to the end of 2022.
Facts.
In case that is any indication of how the rest of this review is going to go, I am grateful for making it to the end of it. That's where I'm at with the year 2022. So that's all I got. But that does very much well transition into was there at least one hard thing that you had to overcome in this year?
Yeah. I think as many highs as there were in 2022, there were a lot of things that I was just kind of battling with. Some hard things were definitely trying to plan a wedding abroad. That was not my favorite thing. Shout out to my sister and my family for making that happen. The yen, I think geopolitically, there was a lot going on with inflation. So that was something else I had to overcome. When we had that one episode with the 500 yen being only $3 is a big issue when you have to transfer money back home to pay some bills. So I think definitely those were some hard things that I had to overcome and figure out, but I'm very grateful for the support system that I had to keep me pushing and keep on going. What about you?
The whole year just felt like one hurdle after another. I don't know what it was, but it was tough the whole time. So that would be me. The year, lots of hard things, just constant challenges from, I felt like all arenas of my life. I wish there was a better way to explain it, but it was tough, which is great because at this point I will say, reached the end of the tunnel. So maybe in another month or two, I'll be like, maybe things weren't that bad. But I don't know. At this point, I feel like I'm, pretty much at the end of the tunnel. I'm looking back and I was like, that sucked. Just sucked.
Continue to suck.
I don't know if I could name any specific thing so much as it just always felt like there was always something not going the way I had intended. Just the whole year, constantly.
You know what though? I know we've kind of talked about our astrology and I truly am someone who kind of believes, kind of dabbles in it, but also Chris and I kind of talk about it ironically as well. Oh, it's because you're a Scorpio, blah, 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 blah. But they always say that at this point in your life, I know you're just going to bleep me out when I say your age anyway. But that's supposed to be a cosmic return. There's supposed to be these things of turmoil that are happening in your life. So I'm wondering if it is kind of due to that. Also, your prefrontal cortex fully developed now, friend. So I think that also has to do with it. There's a lot. I know there's been a lot going on though. Oh, it's 29 and a half years that it approximately happens. But it says that you have, what is it? I'm reading this from the Google, everyone. That occurs every 27 to 29 and a half years. So you have a two and a half year thing of turmoil where basically major life changes, career changes, breakups, engagements, and relocations are happening due to this turmoil that's happening in your life. So
not all of those things, right? Because, oh God, I can't do anything else.
It's just major life changes. That's what's happening.
It's fine. It is what it is. Did you learn anything from all those things? All that hardship?
I learned that I can do hard things.
Did you not know that before?
I feel like I did know that, but it was a year of growth. It was a year of stretching It was a year of really putting myself out there and trying to become more independent. And then like also pivoting when Isaac came here to Japan, like balancing that life of, okay, now I'm like, not that before like, oh, now I'm a wife and like I gotta stay home, but also like, how do I now like continue to connect with my husband and, you know, in a way that like I'm balancing still my life that I had before in Japan and now like figuring out how Isaac fits into everything too. What did 2022 teach you?
I really had to learn how to reconnect with myself. I was very much in survival mode for a lot of the year, just going along to get through, to make it to the end of another day, another week, another month, another event, another whatever. And so really had to learn how to stop myself and get back into it, whatever that meant for me. And like, how did I do all that? How did I get back into it? How am I doing things with passion and with vigor and with intention as opposed to just passively going through the motions of things? And so I learned how to do that more so for myself now. And I know that as you get older, those strategies will change and evolve, but I started somewhere this year and really had to sit down and figure that stuff out because it was truly just checking boxes every day. I'm like, I did it. It's done. Let me go back to sleep because I'm tired. And I feel much better now.
I think it's hard to also recognize though that that's happening, right? And like recognize that like, oh, I'm not finding this fun anymore. Or like, I'm not sparking. This does not bring me joy. This does not bring me peace, right? People can like so easily go passively through their lives and just like, this is the way it's supposed to be. And like, no, that's a trauma response. Like, figure out what it is that's going on. So I do like commend you on recognizing like, this is not how I want to go through the rest of my year because this is not a sustainable energy to keep up. Like there's no way. Yeah. And I feel like that happens a lot to like in education, right? With teachers, with like in the position that you're in, like in these nurturing, caregiving positions, it's so hard for us to like really reflect other than like, oh, being in education is hard. But it doesn't have to be, right? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be something that we're just like passively going through and like, I'm in survival mode. I just need to get to tomorrow. I just need to get to the next break. I just need to get here. Yeah.
I've never liked that mentality.
Me as well.
The countdown to the end, I'm like, we just started.
Yeah. Like, why are you already counting down to summer? Like,
there's so many amazing things that will happen between now and then. Now, granted, that was not my mentality for the first few months of the school year. I was like, when is summer again? So I get it. But for me, I don't want to live in that headspace. I don't want to be constantly on the countdown for something because then you're essentially just like counting down to the end of your life. That's not something I'm in a rush to get to. I'm
only 100 more years as a cog in the machine.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm trying to actually enjoy the experience of the everyday. I know not every day is perfect, but like, I at least want to be present and to say I experienced it fully.
Yeah, definitely. Would you say then that you're a different person now than you were in January?
I think so. If anything, this has probably been one of the more radical transformation years, at least mentally and emotionally. It's certainly not one of the more, I've had more transformative years physically before. I feel very much the same in that regard, but mentally and emotionally, I've definitely gone through a lot of changes in this particular year in terms of figuring out how to overcome just a rapid series of obstacles and stressors and how to cope and deal and find that balance again. And so I feel more capable. I feel like it has stretched me in that capacity. And so I do have a greater capacity for that. So that's fun. So I do feel pretty different, actually. Welcome to this year. But what about you? All of these things, do you feel like you're a different Emma?
I think, yes and no. I feel like there's times where I'm just like, I felt like, I also agree with you in terms of like, I was like passively like, oh, I'm just showing up. Like I was in survival mode. Definitely, like, I think all teachers get into survival mode as you're getting through like April to June. And it's just kind of like, boom, 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 boom. Like everything's coming in. And I was like, I need a break. And then like went home, got married, got COVID. Like it was like a whole thing. And then came back to Japan and it was like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, why? Like life is just happening too quickly for me. But I think in terms of like, am I different? I think I'm more reflective. Like I'm able to really sit in and think about like, oh, like that was really hard in January. And like going into December, like we figured it out. Like we got it done. And I can like really feel proud of like the transformation that I've had, even though it's been I feel like it's been a little bit less, like it's been very subtle. I think just like my mentality has changed a lot. I think even just like the self-talk I give myself has also changed a lot. Before it used to be very like, and I don't even know how the shift happened, but I've started talking to myself more nicely, which I think can be very easy for me to get in my head like, oh, you're not doing enough, like you're not doing what you need to do. And now it's like, you're giving what you can give. And that's okay.
You're giving what you got. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
And even someone else got to give too, like it's not just you. So what relationships do you feel like you need to strengthen moving into this upcoming year?
I think that I am reaching a point in my career where I need to kind of build those trust-based relationships in that regard, because of the fact that there will be times as I continue in this career that the hard things will just keep coming in. And there has to be a way to sometimes just talk about it and sometimes workshop through it. And I think those are the people that I find that I can trust, first of all, is massive. And then the people that are truly interested in my overall well-being. You know what I mean? And not selfishly so, but just interested in my well-being and are not actively, I wouldn't say actively trying to plot my downfall. I'm not like some rich or famous person who people are trying to like steal
all your
my
haters
or anything.
All your haters coming out of the plotting on your
plotting on my life and stuff. Like no, it's nothing like that. But just like someone who does just genuinely like, or a circle of people where that feeling is mutual. Because again, I have the ability and the interest to invest in people in that regard. But I'd imagine just like any good old-fashioned rom-com, no one wants to spend all this time investing in someone and they find out is all for naught because that person didn't actually really care. You know what I mean? So that is something that I'm looking forward to doing, is really developing just really good relationships, trust-based relationships, particularly in a professional capacity.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think in the upcoming year, I just need to I guess be willing to put myself out there. I get so drained so easily. And there's like a very set group of people that I like feel like in my life are people who energize me. And most social interactions usually end in me being exhausted. So like really finding those people who like continue to energize me and continue to like, but also like mutually, right? Because I don't want to be energized by someone who I'm mentally draining, because I think that that's like something that could easily happen as well. Being in the international teaching circuit, it's almost like being an army brat in the way that teachers are constantly moving, right? And so it's also hard because I feel like sometimes I have the mentality of like, oh, do I want to invest in this relationship and then you're gonna leave next year? Like it's so hard making friends as an adult as it is. But I think definitely in the upcoming year, like I want to make more of an effort of like finding more community in Japan, and like what does that look like for me? Yeah, I think that's where I'm kind of starting with. Yeah.
That's nice. Do you have other things that you plan on starting in the year 2023 from that you didn't really, I guess, didn't either get a chance to do or thought about it, or like you've made it to the end of 2022 and you're like, I really gotta get on this?
I think I need to start having a relationship with my body, a better relationship with my body. Like I was talking about like negative self-talk, like my mindset around my body has always been very negative, and I just like, I don't know what to do with my body. Like I don't know my body. I don't know how it needs to be like stretched. I don't know how it needs to be like just having that basic awareness of like, what can my body do? And I felt like I was like starting and I was on the cusp of that doing CrossFit, but like it's so inaccessible in Japan that I need to find a better way. Like I just need to like, that's what I want to start doing, is like really like starting to like meditate and like reflect and stretch. Yeah. What do you want to start doing?
I might start gratitude journaling. I've heard good things about it. So I'm very curious to see like, because again, I don't like to journal to begin with. It's weird. I don't know, having my thoughts on a thing, but it's fine. I'm like, you know what? At this point, I have a whole podcast where my thoughts are somewhere for other people. So like, it's okay. It's a journal. I think you'll be okay writing in a journal every now and then. And so it's something that's come up in my stress management meditation course is a gratitude journal. So I'm going to look into it. I know they have some different templates online and in places like Michael's or other stores like that. So I think that's something that I want to do maybe once a week, once a month, just something to be aware of and reflect on, like constant sense of gratitude and learning like the different types of gratitude. Because that's one thing that I've realized, even just getting to Thanksgiving and people, that's the time people start asking stuff like that. And I just say the usual answers that I know people will accept without asking any further questions of, I'm grateful for my family and my health.
Hey, first of all, that's literally what I just said in the first question. So don't be calling out my generic answers. But yeah, I think gratitude looks different, right? Like depending, and it can, yeah, I agree.
And that's one of the, I just want to learn, like, what am I actually grateful for on a regular and consistent basis? Like, what are things that truly do help me get through? Things that I'm grateful for. Is it a meditation course? Is it, like habits that I have that I don't realize? Is it cooking? Is it like, what are those things? So we'll see. In the year 2022, I'm going to try to start gratitude journaling.
I like that. Okay, in that same way that you're going to start doing that, is there things that you need to stop doing?
I think I am... Oh, I know what this is. I gotta stop living above my means.
Start acting your wage.
Mm-hmm. But like again, that was like a coping mechanism. It's just like, I'll just go out and do something. I'll go out and buy something. And so not in like a terrible way. It's not like my funds have been so terribly mismanaged that now I'm like struggling to get it back together, but just being more responsible and reasonable about those things. And if I'm going to cope, maybe not using retail therapy. Because that's just as expensive as regular therapy.
Definitely, right? Like you could have just now like paid for a therapy session instead of going to Target.
4 times in this 1 week.
Oh, in the year of 2023, I need to stop what is it called? Like holding a plate, Christopher.
Serving yourself too much food?
No, that too though. No, I need to stop. I don't want to say the words overcommitting. Like I need to stop just basically like saying yes, like to commitments at work. Like for some reason, I just like became, and I stopped doing it in the US. And then I was like doing well with it when I first got here. And then all of a sudden it's like every single day after work, I have a meeting and I'm like, why am I still here?
What does that have to do with the plate though? I'm not sure I got
like
overloading your plate.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm not sure I would have ever gotten to this conclusion from that analogy, but I get it now in hindsight.
I need to stop, like putting too much on my plate that I can't handle, right? One of the things I am grateful for, now that we're talking about gratitude as well, is like the ability that I have to support both Isaac and I here, that he can like stay home and really manage the house. Like that is one thing that I just like, it takes such a huge load off of being able to come home and like have a meal prepared, and I feel like I've talked about it so many times already, but I'm like truly grateful to have my husband here able to like take care of that so I can really focus on like my career and being present doing that, which I think is something that like is such a huge like privilege to have, because there's so many people out there who are just like, that's not a reality for them. So yeah.
In our year, are there things that you're carrying over from 22 into 23?
Yes, I want to keep exploring Japan. And I know I keep saying that, but I have been able to like explore. I want to keep hiking. I want to keep pushing my body to its limits in that way. Like it's one of those hard, like I've never thought about hiking as like, oh, this is like, I knew it was going to be tough. But in Texas, when you go hiking, it's very flat. Like the incline is very slight. But Isaac and I have gone through these like 1,000-foot inclines and like done all of these very difficult things. So that's something I want to keep doing, is continuing to pursue that newly found passion of like exploring and like getting out in nature and seeing what else Japan has to offer while we're still here. What do you need to keep doing?
Speaking of which, have you been to all of the regions of Japan yet?
There are 46, Christopher. No, I have not.
Have you been actively checking them off?
Yes, I have been.
Okay,
that is one thing I've been doing.
At least once a month, like you said?
Oh, no.
It's
expensive.
I don't know.
I also have 2 people now that I have to pay for, so it's not a cheap venture.
No one said he had to go to all 46.
I can't go by myself. That's not as fun. Yeah, I was saying like I wanted to get to 12, but you'll see in the next one. My 2023 goal is to get to 5 more. When I made that goal, I was thinking like, oh, it's like should be relatively cheap to travel domestically. The fastest way to get places is by bullet train, which like tends to be $150 one way.
Okay, that's a flight.
So I'm like, I cannot afford $300
a month. Not including anything else.
I was like, to go now travel and then have to find accommodations and then feed myself. So yeah, it's going slowly. We're getting there.
Slower than anticipated.
That's okay. Things we learned. Did you answer what you need to keep doing?
I don't think so.
No. So what do you need to keep doing?
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, like, yeah, yes, but like, that was the funny answer. I think realistically, I would say, because I didn't really do yoga this year, so I can't say I'm going to keep doing that, because that's not factually accurate at all. I have this one. I am going to keep my language learning going. In case anyone missed it, your boy was in the top 3% of language learners on Duolingo. I don't know what that means, but I like the sound of it.
I know. And then I texted him in Spanish, and then he replied in English, and I was like, that was not what I was trying to get at that. I wanted you to reply in Spanish.
Awkward. I barely read the message. It's like, oh man, this is a Spanish message. Kept going. But I know, and that was like top 3%, and I had only picked up in the summer, and I've been going since then. So I'm very curious to see if I can break into that top 2% on Duolingo.
Top 2%
Just kidding.
Owner, or not owner, creator. Top 2% creator.
Hey,
that's our goal for next year.
So I've made it. I'm like 1 or 2 lessons out of finishing the basics course, actually.
Wow.
Basics 1. So I'll be going into basics 2 for sure very soon. And so we'll see. I'm hoping that I can become more and more conversational in Spanish. I haven't decided if I'm going to put it to the side to focus up on some Portuguese before I go to Brazil. I probably should, as it will be a solo trip, but I just know like learning multiple languages can get really confusing. So we will see, but I'm going to continue learning my languages every day.
Yay!
So that's very, very nice. But any other final thoughts, last minute things that you want to include before you give your final rating?
2022?
Anything you want to leave with 2022, things that you want to say to its face before it's done?
Say it with my chest, say it all the way. 2022, I am glad that you are done. We've been through some things, so yep, that's all I'm going to say. What about you? Last thoughts?
I think, 2020 and 2021 left me feeling a little cocky, a little arrogant.
This is a humbling year.
This was a humbling year. 2022 really made me sit down and recollect myself. And I am, grateful for the experience. I hope I don't have to do it again for a while. This was wonderful. 2022, 2023. I got it. Please, we don't have to keep doing the same things. It's totally fine. I am a changed person, changed human, different. Okay, so let's just be chill. Let's be real chill. Moving forward.
Let's just be neutral to each other now, okay? I don't need to rule you. You don't need to rule me. It's not like a 2-1. This is not a boxing match.
No hostilities. It's done. It's over. We're back to being friends. At least just not enemies. So that'd be great. But that's it. That's my final okay, it's done. I did it. That's all I got.
Okay, give us your final rating. Yelp score 1 to 5 stars.
Oh my gosh, I would give the year 2022 a solid 0.25 stars.
Because you can't give zeros on Yelp.
That's the crazy part. This year was even worse than that COVID year, bro.
That was a tough year.
This year was worse than 2019.
But I feel like 2020 was like, yeah, it was pretty tough, but man, I loved working from home. That was it. That was like the life for me. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
I didn't enjoy working from home, but the use of technology I was thriving in. So I don't know what happened this year. It just, that and stupid inflation. It's mostly inflation. Ugh, hate
It's all the
inflation so much.
inflation's fault.
Everything. Just bring it back to inflation. So 0.25 stars on Yelp. Do not bring this energy back to 2023. I will demand a refund instantly. Give it back. Start over. I am making a vision board to not do this again. Okay?
That's what we're manifesting into the year, is no repeat of this year. My final rating, I feel like I had a really good year. Like, yes, there were some like parts where it was like, oh, I can't, like, it was more annoying. It was more frustrating than it was like, I can't do this again. Because I think overall, like, I had so many good things happen that I don't want to like minimize that and like invalidate that those good things were so good. My good was good. My bad was bad. So I think I would rate it like a good, like either 3.5 or 4.
Okay.
We just had
really
very
good.
drastically different years.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, you had very clear, good memories that, like, you will have about 2022. At best, I'm like, meh. Even I'm thinking, like, I'm, like, trying to build, like, a highlight reel in my head. I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, I finished the year. Like, that's just call it. It's done. Don't ask me no more questions. It was ridiculous. And so, I don't know. I think it's not that the lows were particularly low. It's just that the highs weren't there to compensate for them.
Yeah, I was like, it was just like a big meh
valley.
year.
Just lots of valleys. There were no mountains or hills to compensate. So it was always just, bleh.
It was like a canyon, and then you would like do a little bit of elevation change, but really just going back down into the canyon.
Constantly. So it is what it is. It's done now. But
oh, man.
It's fine. With that, it is, in fact, time for our
rapid fire question. Oh,
hey.
Let's keep doing that in 2023. That's all I know.
I'm saying we closed out 2022 with an air horn officially.
We sure did. I mean, where else can we go but up from here? Okay, my question today is, what is your least favorite month?
My least favorite month?
Mm-hmm.
Awkward.
I have one if you don't have one. Oh, rude!
You have to understand, that's like
that's
allergy season.
Yeah.
And like Easter, I just don't care for Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And taxes recently have sucked.
And there's not really any, like, as an educator again, and people in education, there's no breaks in April because you just came off of spring break.
This is one big, long, high pressure month.
Yeah.
It's just a very meh month overall.
I personally like April because it's my birthday month, but whatever, I'm biased.
You know, that helps. That certainly helps in an overall lackluster month.
Mine is October.
On the other side of the education spectrum, that is the other month that also just sucks for people a lot.
Like, you have this super high momentum coming into the school year, you're feeling good, and then October hits and you're just like, they call it Rocktober for a reason.
Quitstober.
Yeah, like, terrible. Yes, we know. Thankfully now I do get a break in October, so I get an October break, which makes it a little bit better, but at the same time, I'm like, why am I counting down the days until this break? Like, this is not good.
It's just so odd. I don't know what it is.
It's those two phenomenons.
Yeah, this is the first time I experienced Rocktober. Usually I'm like, oh, it's great. October's fine. Like, I like it. There's Halloween and there's fall and everything. And this October was like, get out of my face.
Get out my face.
Yes. But April is still not good. You know, that's how you know April's not good, because the one holiday that April has sometimes is in March.
Or May.
Like, sometimes Easter will just dip out and there's nothing about April.
There's just nothing going on for it. Yeah, I get it. I get it completely.
It'd be like that. All right. I was like, oh, now it's time for your question. I was like, wait, awkward. It's still my question. Okay. What is your favorite thing about nature? Miss, ooh, I'm a hike the world.
I'm a hike the world. My favorite thing about nature, I really do like all the colors. Like, especially, like, even just the green during the normal months as well. But I think it's just this, like, stillness and peace that I get being in nature. Like, there's just this sense of, like, oh, I can, like, slow down. It's so different from the city. Even if I'm, like, only an hour out from the city, there's this, like, I get this, like, overwhelming sense of, like, peace, which I also get at the ocean, too. But since I'm kind of far from the ocean, I've had to do with trees.
The ocean is also nature.
I know. But, like,
Okay.
I meant to say, like, that I get the same sense of peace that I get in the forest that I do in the ocean. And because I can't be near an ocean too often in Japan, especially because it's freaking cold, the trees will do. What
That's
about
good.
you?
At least you have something that works.
Yeah.
I like the simplicity of nature, at its base level. Kill or be killed.
I was like, nature is so complex. Have you not thought of those, like, relationships that are happening?
I mean, like, is it
ecosystems?
though? Like, I think it is because we choose to make it complicated, but, like, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, that's true.
Realistically. I mean, granted, yeah, there's, like, microbiology and cells and all the other stuff that, like, you could overcomplicate, but at the end of
At
it,
a
it's just
base
very
level.
simple. It's just things trying to make it every day.
Yeah.
And some things like you and some things don't like you.
True.
It's so simple, A canyon is a canyon is a canyon is a canyon, A mountain's a mountain.
A bear is a bear is a bear is a bear.
We only get confused because we're like, that's a polar bear and that's a brown bear. It's like, it's a bear. I don't know what else you need from me. Like, it's big, it got teeth, and it runs fast. Like, there's no other details needed for me.
It will kill me if I stop. Like,
I don't need to know nothing else. Like, bear, not friend. Okay, we're good. That's it. Dog, mostly friend. Cool, we're good. Cat,
sometimes
neutral? Question mark? Unclear. Actually, there is a question mark. Cats are confusing. Everything else, it's pretty chill. So that's it.
Dead.
Oh, goodness. That's me. Well, Emma, where can people find the podcast?
You can find our podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The Tea with Crema. You can also stream our podcast anywhere that you stream our podcasts, as well as YouTube. If you'd like to buy us a cup of tea, you can Venmo us at The Tea with Crema. We hope to see you next time. Bye! Welcome to my life.